What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is down 2.2%, 463 the high, 447 the low, and just shy of around 37 million shares being traded. So today, very frustrating, only because today has nothing really to do with NIO nor China whatsoever. Of course, I think the broader market, or at least Chinese stocks, are digesting some of the recent data that came out Sunday evening. So we had GDP coming in a little bit lower than the forecast, so 4.5 versus 4.6. Retail sales similarly coming in lower than the forecast. Unemployment came in flat at the 5.1. So of course, today is the first trading day, so the market's kind of digesting this, but what is really moving the market is Greenland and back and forth tariffs with the EU. This is what is really comical. So I know every single time in the past, people always ask, why does NIO go down because of this and blah, blah, blah. How does it affect NIO? In the past, the States has always argued with China, and it's always gone back and forth with tariffs. And that I do understand, and that it makes sense, because technically how that is seen is if there's a trade war going on with China, for instance, that's going to eventually trickle down, starting off with manufacturers, and it's going to be the consumers that pay. Consumers, if they have less money, they're not going to go out and buy a vehicle. That's a very quick 10-second synopsis of how tariffs impact stocks. But right now, it's the States and the EU. That is how, China is not even part of this. There's zero reason, underline that, there's zero reason why NIO should be going down right now. And even based on my weekend video, there was a lot of big things that came out over this weekend, very positive for NIO, massive milestones. So in theory, that should have really pushed NIO higher. But unfortunately, you have algorithmic trading, as per usual, really suppressing NIO. So today, very frustrating for a day, especially for NIO investors. Aside from what I brought up over the weekend, there really hasn't been all that much in updates whatsoever. So it is just digesting what is happening largely between, for Greenland, between the States and the EU. So rather dumb day if you think about it. Shorts tend to agree, because if shorts felt that this was a justified kind of sell-off, they would easily double down because there's a lot of available shares, but they're returning 641,000 shares. And this is why I like to digest and analyze this information, because shorts returning, it shows that today is a dumb day and it's not really justified. So they're returning 641,000 shares, 8.16% of the free float is being shorted. It works out to be 166.29 million shares overall being shorted. You do see, of course, still some signs of manipulation. So 104 million shares being on loan, 166 being shorted. So there's more shares being shorted than on loan. So that's kind of a naked short kind of scenario. DTC being at 3.77 days really does signal that shorts are fairly overextended. Looking at the options, 2.05 million in calls, 2.4 in puts. 51% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. And most likely, that is the smart money, quietly buying calls. And I look at a lot of different stocks, do a lot of different YouTube channels and videos throughout the day. Common kind of scenario that's happening is a lot of bearishness through the options. NIO is pretty much the only stock right now that I've looked at that has some level of optimism from the options. So of course, a lot of the positive things that did come out over the weekend, clearly the market sees that as being a good reason to move higher. So far we have two bullish data points. One is the options, second is shorts returning. So again, today is kind of just a crappy day. So for those of you that maybe want a deal, today might be a good day to dollar cost average, but from a bull standpoint, you still see a consensus for it to be roughly around $5 by the end of this Friday. Bears are anticipating for it to be kind of between that $4 to $4.50. So they are anticipating a little bit more of a pullback. As per usual, still no transactions of any significance on the secondary market. The two that are there, both for 102,000, and they are both sells. So institutions aren't really buying the NIO dip Unfortunately, on the secondary market, or the dark pool, you see a little bit more activity, but then again, most of this is probably linked to shorts, because as of right now, shorts are returning, like I said, that 600,000+, and throughout the trading day at its peak, they were increasing about 3.5 million. So they did hit it hard first, and now they're kind of just tapering off. But most of those transactions on the dark pool are clearly linked to shorts. Right now with it at 461, it is trading between this pivot and this S1, so it was able to successfully get over and stay above that 458. I did a pre-market video where I did mention that you should really watch for this 448 as a good entry to dollar cost average, and conveniently it did hit 447 for the low today. So for those of you that potentially listened to that information, you could have had some pretty good money just for a quick swing trade, or again, depending on how long you're having it, day trade. But 458 is going to be that key level that NIO really needs to hold today. If not, then you could be seeing a little bit of a pullback. But before I get into some of the technicals, there is one thing I wanted to share with you. So I launched this stacked account roughly around a month and a half ago, and I did just put a promotion on my day trades, lowered it down to $10 a month. So if you get in, it will never increase whatsoever. And these are some of the ones I did put out for today. So keep in mind, the market is crappy like crazy today, but these are the day trades that I did put out. All solid greens. Even if you look at the range, a lot of these have pulled back a little bit, but still you could have made even more than what is here. So definitely worthwhile to kind of take advantage of this. So like I said, promotion is going to be up until end of probably this week most likely, and once you get in, it will never increase whatsoever. So $10 a month, definitely take a look at that. Link in the description below and also the comments. But getting right to the actual technicals itself. So unfortunately, I would like to say that this is bullish, but it isn't. So it is below all the key pivotal moving averages. I think today did and was a big day for NIO, because if it was able to have gone above that 10-day moving average, then you would have saw a nice recovery this week. And logically, based on what came out over the weekend, you would assume that it would have happened. But because of Greenland and everything else, and obviously throwing logic out the window, we are seeing more consolidation. The only positive thing about this is the fact that it is mind-blowingly oversold. So again, if you're dollar cost averaging, swing trading, right now might be a good potential opportunity to buy, but of course, we are staring off of a virtual cliff. So just watch for that 448, that fib level, that support level to hold in the next couple of trading days. If that doesn't, then anticipate kind of the high threes. Let me know your thoughts on NIO. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you doing with NIO? And what do you think the next big catalyst for NIO is going to be? So with all that, appreciate all of you watching. Pop over to the stacked account, like I said. Take advantage of that promo. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.